It's another edition of Time About the Movies, and today we're taking a look at the films of July 27th, 2001. We only got two movies to look at today, so let's just go ahead and jump on into it. We'll start off with the biggest new release of the weekend. That's Tim Burton's reimagining of Planet of the Apes.
Fair to call this hostile territory.
So yeah, before we had the good reimagining of Planet of the Apes, which we got with the Rise of the Planet of the Apes and so on and so forth, this was the bad reimagining of Planet of the Apes. You basically have Mark Wahlberg as an astronaut who crash lands on a planet inhabited by intelligent apes. The apes treat humans as slaves with the help of another ape played by Helena Bonham Carter, which was actually one of her first movies she did with Tim Burton. Leo starts a rebellion as he seeks to return to Earth. And this was a movie that was in development for a long period of time. There was one point where there was one that Arnold Schwarzenegger was going to be involved in with James Cameron, which probably would have been awesome if they actually went through with it. Various other names were attached to it at various points. Chris Columbus was attached at one point. Peter Jackson was attached at one point. So were the Hughes brothers. Oliver Stone was at one point attached to direct it. But Tim Burton eventually came on to direct, and the movie came out, and was a hit at first at the box office, but as time went on and people saw the movie, they realized that, yeah, not worth it. Definitely not worth it. And it's not like the movie is bad or anything. There are some good ideas overall, and there are things about it that are really cool. Like, the visual look of the movie is impressive. I'll give it that, and I do like the prosthetic makeup designs on there. I think they did a pretty good job of giving all the apes their distinctive looks to them. I thought Paul Giamatti and Michael Clark Duncan were probably the best things in the cast, but it's everything else about it that just really, really falls apart. I mean, the story makes no sense whatsoever, and it even has an ending that is so baffling and so bizarre. Like, it's trying to do something different compared to the classic ending of Planet of the Apes with Charlton Heston. Of course, you have the Statue of Liberty there. Statue of Liberty realizing that Earth was the planet of the apes all along, and of course, you maniacs, you blew it up, damn you, damn it all to hell. No, this one decided to go another direction with it, and it makes no sense. It does not make any sense whatsoever, and the whole movie probably knows it doesn't make any sense, but it's like we literally do not have any ideas on how to wrap this up. I mean, this thing literally was being shot less than a year before it came out. I mean, they did not take the time whatsoever to actually put this together. And you could definitely tell story-wise. Like, yeah, the makeup looks impressive and the visuals look pretty good, but everything else about the movie is just bland. Mark Wahlberg is a good actor, but man, he's lifeless in this. And so is Estella Warren, who we already saw in Driven. And I guess they were trying to set her up as the new hot young talent, and then she does this and then follows us up with Kangaroo Jack, and yeah, her career pretty much ended. It's that hope of her becoming the next big star pretty much ended when she said yes to Kangaroo Jack. But yeah, it's just not a good movie in terms of a story, in terms of good characters. Like I said, it had to take almost 10 years to get a really good Planet of the Apes reboot with Rise of the Planet of the Apes that got better and better with each film. Like, Dawn of the Planet of the Apes and War for the Planet of the Apes are still incredible movies because the people behind them took a good idea with Planet of the Apes and gave it new life to it. You have a great main character that you follow, Andy Serkis is Caesar, and you really do want to follow that storyline with the apes. They make the apes the good guys in this situation, and they're a lot of fun to watch. They're very compelling to watch in general, and those movies have turned out great. But this, I'm glad they didn't make any more movies for this, because this would not have made any sense whatsoever if they had continued on from where they were setting it up. Because it's just like, nothing about what happened before that moment makes any sense to why this was meant to be that way. It's just like, we had to do it because, hey, the original did something similar to it, so we're going to take it up the notch. And needless to say, it did not work in the long run. So, yeah. Avoid Tim Burton's Planet of the Apes. Despite the good effects, the good makeup design, it's not worth it. It is definitely not worth it in the end. So with that said, let's end this on a good note. Let's talk about a really good movie that came out this weekend, and that was Wet Hot American Summer.
USA Films and creators of TV's The State.
A renegade piece of Skylab heading right for the cap.
Oh my God.
It could kill us all.
Janine Garofalo, David Hyde Pierce, Paul Rudd, Christopher Maloney, and Molly Shannon. Wet Hot American Summer.
And another one of those great movies that was way ahead of its time, because when this came out, it was both a critical and financial failure, but since then, it developed a cult following, and mostly because, yeah, a lot of these people came from the state. I mean, director David Wayne. You also have a cast that includes some very good talent all around. Janine Garofalo, David Hyde Pierce, Molly Shannon, Paul Rudd, Chris Maloney, Michael Showalter, Ken Marino, Michael Ian Black, Marguerite Moreau, Bradley Cooper, Amy Poehler, Elizabeth Banks, Joe Latruglio, H. John Benjamin. I mean, there's a lot of great talent involved in this movie that went on to become big stars when it was all said and done. But at the time, nobody really bought into it. But luckily, the film did find an audience, and the plot's pretty much what you think it is. It's the last full day of a fictional summer camp in 1981, and it spoofs the sex comedies aimed at teen audiences of that era. And it literally feels like a 1980s camp sex comedy. I mean, in a good way, too. Like, it's a really very funny movie. It's a very funny movie with a lot of great talent all throughout this movie. I mean, there's a lot of great names involved here that would later become stars of their own. It's a movie that knows we need to be silly and ridiculous in order for this to work, and it really works on so many levels. It's a funny, funny movie with a lot of great talent all around. Just moments that are memorable on so many different levels, and it's just like, it's just an incredible movie. It's a very, very fun movie. It's a very fun film that has gone on to have a life of its own as a cult classic, as well as a franchise with two really good series that came up after this, including the prequel, then followed up with the sequel series that actually takes place 10 years after the original film. So it's taken on a life of its own, and it's more than worth it when it's all said and done. It's a very well-made film on so many levels. Very funny stuff. Can't recommend this one enough. Wet Hot American Summer. Definitely seek this movie if you want a good hard laugh. And so on that note, we wrap up another edition of Time About the Movies. And when we meet next time, we'll jump into August with 4 movies, including the highly anticipated sequel, Rush Hour 2. We also have Anne Hathaway and Julie Andrews in The Princess Diaries, Antonio Banderas and Angelina Jolie in Original Sin, and the re-release of Apocalypse Now Redux. So we'll take a look at all 4 of those movies on the next episode. But until then, thank you so much for watching. And if you want to see more videos like this, please hit the playlist on the next page. Check out the previous episode. And also don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button if you want to see more videos like this on this channel. So don't go too far away, though. Because coming up next on Time About the Movies Flashback, we're flashing back to June 24th, 1988, when Who Framed Roger Rabbit came out. So we'll talk about that movie. And we'll do that right after this.